Hello, people on it. It's I, another name BT. Here, a little bit different. Yay! A little bit of a different video. A vocalized deck profile. Yeah. A number of you selected that you wished to see it. I did not look at the poll after I posted it, but I am very well sure that you guys all, well, majority might have clicked yes because no YouTube viewer in their sensible mind is going to say no to more content. But yeah, I'm going to be explaining deck profiles now, because people apparently don't understand. Not everyone like me can memorize every single card effect inside Rush Duel. Ain't that crazy? But though this is a very good note, it will allow me to explain the strategy, explain the main win condition, what your primary goal is, and all that. So, let's get in to the first vocalized, well, first Rush vocalized profile. Ooh. So of course, if you're gonna see this, this is a Galaxy Lord deck. Yay! Basically, if you don't know, Galaxy Lord is the all level 10 light Galaxy maximum monster from Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. Yay. And this monster in particular is very unique in some sense. It being one of the only maximum monsters that trigger their effect on normal summon, along with, well, exclusively from normal summon, uh, and retrieves their own pieces, which is very much interesting. So the entire goal of the deck is to summon out Galaxy King or Galaxy Lord, and the primary way to get him is by using his effect. When you tribute summon him using a normal Galaxy monster, you can add 2 level 10 monsters from your grave to your hand, then return itself to hand. Usually the 2 cards you add is L and R. So what you primarily do once you get this point in field is that you use L's effect, which is reduce the attack of 1 Galaxy, Spellcaster Machine, or Dragon monster with 4,000 more attack, or more attack or original attack, and it loses 4,000 attack until the end of the turn. But then you can destroy up to 4 cards your opponent controls. That is the primary game plan, and, well, that's just the primary game plan of this deck, is to repeatedly every turn wipe away your opponent's board until you leave them on an open board state in which you can attack them. But you might be wondering, is that really your primary way of winning, even though that you lose basically all of your attack? Yes, because at the end of the day, your main win condition is Great Maju Garzett. It is the most gimmicky thing you're ever going to see in a hot minute. Effectively, what you do is that once you use the effect of Galaxy Lord, once your opponent has a clear board, you tribute over it for Great Maju Garzett. It gains 8,000 attack points, and you swing directly for 8,000. Yay. There's not really much else to the strategy, and if your opponent does have more life points than 8,000, it might be a little bit iffy, but you should have enough extenders to possibly get some additional damage in, though you don't normally need it. Now, this is not a fully competitive strategy as it is, though this is arguably one of the more consistent versions of playing Galaxy Lord. Now, another thing you could do is by using R's effect, it can gain the attack of 1 monster your opponent controls, can clear the board, and then you can attack them with the original attack of the monster you copied. But that requires you to send a normal monster hand to grave with the level of 1 monster your opponent controls, so if you don't have the exact normal monster, it's not going to work out. But I only play Galactica Oblivion and Transamu Rainac, plus a Sentinel, so I can only copy level 4s and level 7s, which are semi-common, but if you do want to play around that, I can suggest that you play something like Majestic Master Burst if you want to side deck against level 8s, though personally I don't do that because that's not really my end goal of the day. Besides Great Maju Garzett, I can understand it's not always going to be in hand. You might accidentally mill it with one of your few mill effects, so there is an additional win condition, which is Galactica Amnesia. So it's not as powerful as Garzett, but it did close a few games for me. Basically, you tribute summon it over Galaxy Lord, you pitch a card, and you summon 2 level 6 or lower Galaxy monsters, which is normally going to be Transamu Rainac. Then you can poke directly for a good sum of damage. It's not 8,000, but it's definitely going to allow you to reset your board to get a lot more damage in, and, you know, if you happen to have a second Galaxy Lord in hand, or Galaxy Lord main head, you contribute over him for Amnesia and the normal monster it's summoned, and then you can get out another maximum for another 4k. Now, that's effectively the entirety of the strategy is based around Garzett and Amnesia getting in the primary amount of damage, though in some cases you will be able to attack directly with Galaxy Lord himself, because he might have to stay on the board for a turn or two, because you haven't gotten to your Garzett yet, so it's kind of like protect the castle. So for the main engine pieces, that's kind of all of your normal monsters you need for the effect. I'm just playing 2 Galactica Oblivion, 3 Transamu Rainac, and 1 Bright Sentinel. So I wanted to go for 3 Galactica Oblivion, but that's a little bit sacky, especially considering the fact that you're already playing 3, 3, and 3 of the maximum, so you don't want to over-level your hand, and the deck isn't really supportive of specifically 7s, but having Galactica Oblivion himself, he can easily be recovered by a majority of the deck. He is also useful in applying the cost for the deck, and you can stack over additional monsters, you can set them, or you contribute them for cost. Transamu Rainac is, of course, just as is Rainac is the highest attack level 4 Galaxy normal monster, so you basically have to play it. It's the strongest one of your targets. Sentinel is just in here because I wanted a 4th copy of a vanilla, just in case, just to increase consistency, and it kind of worked. It didn't really fully matter when using the cards to recover it. It was probably just to get Amnesia to be more consistent. Now for the actual cards that would get you into maximum would be Galactical Pick, which is basically just pitch a galaxy, add a galaxy, or add a level 10 galaxy. That is it. I'm only playing 2 of this because it's not too strong on its own. You still have to depend on a lot of other cards to be milling your deck, though there is some level of option if you want to play 3 copies of it, if you are playing a lot more mill cards, but because I'm playing with Garzett, I'm not playing as many mill cards in the deck, so it's not going to be getting its effect off that often. 2 copies of Ascending Weather Eel. Though its effect is very inconsistent in adding a maximum monster, the main goal of this is to recycle cards you might need, recycling Dark Ruler or recycling Garzett or any other piece you possibly need. And, you know, it happens to be a light monster, so it does somewhat mix in with the strategy. 3-star Trileo, the MVP of the deck ever since the card came out. This has been seen play consistently, and for a really good reason. Excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, send all galaxies to the grave, place the remaining cards in the bottom deck in any order. So that means you can mill off all of your maximum pieces, but keep your Garzett, keep your Dark Ruler, keep your Weather Eel, keep any other non-galaxy that you want in your deck. So that makes this one of the strongest mill cards and something that you, no matter what, have to play 3 of in the strategy, since it allows you to keep all of your main deck techs and extenders, but only remove the cards that you need in grave. Now another card is going to be Galacticara Eve. If you have no monsters in your field, send a monster with 1600 more attack, specifically Galaxy, hand to grave, draw a card, and if 3 or less monsters in grave, draw another card. So this is primarily going to be the first thing you do every single turn, if possible, where you normal summon it, sack off a high level or high attack monster in your hand, draw a card, maybe draw 2 cards. The reason why I say this is going to have to be your first card to activate is because it requires you to control monsters, but it does remove itself from the field, allowing you to activate the effect of Trileo and Transamu Craione. Then, speaking of which, Transamu Craione, a little bit not too satisfied with how this card is performing, but this is kind of the only one that's fully supportive of the strategy. Basically, you summon Craione, add back normally a Transamu Rainac, sometimes it will be Oblivion, and then you now have your normal monster for the effect of Galaxy King Lord. But do keep in mind that its effect does lock you out of attacking with Galaxy type monsters for the turn, which is taken into account. You have to leave Galaxy Lord on the field for a turn or 2. That doesn't happen too often, though. Finally, for the monsters is 1 Embryonic Dark Ruler. I was going to play 2. 1 actually seemed actually, 1 was stupidly consistent, believe it or not. Basically, you summon him, excavate 5, add a Legend Fiend that you excavated. No, it doesn't always resolve. It has made getting into Garzett much better. A lot less risk when going through heavy mails. And, Excavate 5, though it doesn't sound that amazing, it excavating 5 cards in Rush Duel means a lot. That is a heavy amount of searching. And it actually does make it a lot more consistent. And you can recycle it with Weather Eel, so you can always get more searches. You could play 2, but at that point it's a little bit sacky because you can only search 1 card in your deck. It does not have any other legal targets, which is kind of a shame. It is a really good card, but it is just there to get out Garzett a little bit faster. Now, on with that is just the consistency cards, the main spells, you already know it. Heavenly Gift, discard any number of monsters in your hand. If they're level over 10 or more, draw 2. So, Heavenly Gift, pitch L, R, draw 2. Heavenly Invitation, when you control no monsters, add a level 10 from grave to hand by milling the top 3. Even if you control a monster, you mill 3, and that gets you L and R in grave faster. Of course, Graceful Charity, draw 3, discard 2. You know how that works. Now, the primary way that you're going to be keeping Galaxy Lord alive is by using shared sentiments. When your opponent normal summons a monster, shuffle 2 light monsters from your Graven deck. 1 face-up light monster gains the attack of the normal summon monster and can't be destroyed by card effects this turn. So basically, you make Galaxy Lord even bigger, preventing your opponent from summoning out a big beast sick beating over it, and now it can't be destroyed by card effects, which is one of the many issues of Galaxy Lord, is that he has nothing protecting him. He has no card effect protection, but Shared Sentiments does give him that extra turn to survive around, and if you need to clear more cards in your opponent's back row because you're unsure what they have, this is a good way to stall out a little bit longer and get back some much needed material you'll need in deck. You could play 3 of this, but it is a little bit obsessive because you do consistently get out Garzett a lot faster than you can imagine, so playing 2 of it just seemed alright because you don't really stall out in the game that much. And then 1 Compulsory Evacuation device, basically insurance for fusions. Realistically, most fusions these days can easily out Galactical Lord, or if it is your turn, you maximum summon Lord, you can activate Compulse, remove a card from your opponent's field. Now they have 1 less card on field, which can pop the rest. So it's a little bit of a mix on outing primarily really problem cards if you don't have shared sentiments, but also just an extra amount of removal on your turn. So that is effectively the entire deck, and that's the card by card explanation of how these cards work together and what they're going to do. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the explanation of the deck, and I hope you will enjoy the rest of the video. Let's get to it.